Hello, everyone. I'm very, very happy today because today I myself am going to get tips from my friendly hypnotherapist, Janna. I'm Troy Parkins, and I'm here with
Janna Colasso, your friendly hypnotherapist.
my friendly hypnotherapist and everybody's friendly hypnotherapist, I
Yes.
must add. How are you doing? You look very bright today.
I'm bright.
I like the look.
I'm bright. I was just reading this book that was equating body surfing to life. And the guy in it hadn't body surfed since he was a kid. He was talking about feeling embarrassed about going out and looking dumb. And so I think when you always introduce me, every week as everybody's friendly hypnotherapist. And I thought, don't we all just do that? Don't we all just kind of want to hold back and not ask a question? Or there's that fear of, I'm going to look like such an idiot. How come all these other people have this stuff figured out and I don't? Like, that's not true, but isn't that our perception, right? So
True that.
so I think I just want to start with, when I say friendly, I'm saying that all questions are welcome, and there is no such thing as a dumb question. There's just not. Even if you're afraid that there is, don't believe that. Don't believe everything your mind tells you. I would rather hear it. And chances are, if you're experiencing a question, other people out there are also. So it takes a certain amount of courage to just open up and ask. But it's not only going to help you, hopefully it will help others as well.
Yes. And there are quite a few people afraid to come on here and ask questions because I've talked to them, and I'm trying to strong arm them and force them to come on HypnoTalk. And they just want to watch. They're like, I just want to watch. Can I just watch? And I'm like, all right. And then they ask me another question, like on the QT. They're like, oh, so you know, when Janna was talking about presence, like, what does that actually look like? I don't understand. So that's why, I ask these questions because I get a lot of these questions from people in my travels.
Yeah.
However, this is a barn burner today, as they say in the Midwest, a barn burner. You and I had a brief chat yesterday after my poker tournament that I was steaming. That's a poker term, people out there who play poker, maybe you don't know or you do. Steaming is a poker term where something happened, and just like the tea kettle steams, my head was steaming because I had a 92% chance to win a very pivotal hand. So thus I was attached to the outcome, which was me winning, because come on, I'm not going to say when has that ever happened, because that's actually happened to me many times. However, when does it happen in one's life that one is 92% going to get something or something done, and they get it? Usually 92%, give or take a few percentage points. Anyway, so that being said, I was steaming. Like, so there was a little bit of smoke coming out of my left ear, and
I would have paid good money to see that, and all I can think of is the head exploding emoji right now in my mind's eye.
Oh, literally?
Yeah.
Everybody on the table, when they saw what happened, they were like, "Oh!" making all these noises. And when I realized that he had more chips than me, I literally just I did a rage quit on the poker table. Right? I didn't have my Switch controller with me to rage quit like that. I actually just rage quit off the poker table. It was almost like there was a Super Bowl where I think the Seattle Seahawks, Pete Carroll, had these headphones on, and Russell Wilson threw an interception on the goal line, and the Seahawks lost the Super Bowl on that one play. And literally Pete Carroll, he raged quit the game. Like, his headsets fell off, he spasmed, threw him on the ground, That was like me because I had my headphones in like this. I
Yeah.
spasmed. My headphones came off. It was a to do. So then
Oh,
so then of course I have to call my friendly hypnotherapist who by the way when I do go to the World Series of Poker and I get on my final table, you are going to be my poker coach. So that being said, I called my poker coach up and I said, okay, so I'm feeling steamed right now, but Janna, how do I change my luck? How do I every single time win that hand? Or even if it's 55% in my favor, how do I win that hand every single time? Because I'm the favorite, I'm attached to being the favorite, I should win.
and see, I'm hearing attach, and I know some of this you're reiterating, and we already went over it, and I know you're through some of what you're saying, but
My
as
face isn't
you,
red, no
but
smoke anymore.
but can you hear in Troy's voice that he has an expectation that he should be able to control the result? And
Yes.
that's a recipe for disaster. That's not the same thing as empowerment. It's not the same thing as confidence, really. If I have a guarantee that everything is going to go perfectly for me, and the universe or the poker gods gives me a written contract that says, without beyond a shadow of a doubt, you're winning, then sure, then I can go in and take a risk. But we want to look at it and take a step away for one thing and step back and look at the bigger picture. And if you're out there in Hypno YouTube TV land, what you don't realize about Troy is he's a lot smarter than the average bear. He's able to understand and comprehend statistics on the fly. And when I heard him yesterday explain what happened in greater detail, what I heard was that he hadn't really made any errors. Okay. He had bet the way he bet based on the information he had. And based on the information he had, I think, what did you just say, a 92% chance?
92%,
Right.
give or take about 0.05%.
Right. So he's looking around and he's going, okay, I've got about a 95% chance based on the actual numbers of the cards that I'm holding and the cards that other people have played and so on, that this is going to go in my favor. So he made the best possible choice he could make at the time. Now, there's a few things I want to ask you that will help us to fine tune your luck a little bit.
Oh, I love this.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
let's go. Let's do it.
so one would be, what was going on for you when you were in the steam coming out of your ears? Were there any thoughts that were going through your head? Any were you saying, and I don't know, I'm going to ask you before I start throwing out examples
Sure.
of what they might have been, but what would you say that the thoughts were?
The thought was literally luck is against me. I was a victim to my circumstances, which was why does this always effing happen? I mean,
Right.
that was the initial conversation, even though that's not true. It doesn't
Well,
always
but
effing
I
happen.
can imagine that there's evidence gathered that it has happened in the past.
Well,
And so the fear is, why is this always happening? Would that be accurate?
sure. That's
So
it.
if I were you, I'd keep a little cheat sheet or a little note that what are my thoughts go to, my go-to when something doesn't work out. My go-to goes into, why is luck against me? And some of the
Yeah.
questions you've asked me, I know you've done it a little bit in jest, but how can we get the poker gods to kind of, you know,
Give me the
Killing me,
92%
basically,
every single time.
yeah.
Exactly.
And so, but there's a belief that, we want to look at abundance. And if you're looking to win a poker tournament, most people would want to win a poker tournament probably for the money. I'm guessing the abundance, or it could be for the fame, or it could be for just the exhilaration of it. There's a lot of reasons, but when big stakes, when there's money at stake for anything, we want to start it going in with being willing to lose. Because if we start to take this into a hippie woo woo law of attraction universe conversation, which I'm going to take it into now, we want to, the number one most important thing is not to keep asking the universe for what we want. The universe has heard it a million times. For anyone listening to this where money's an issue, do you think maybe the universe might have heard you bitch about money and talk about how, maybe once or twice, like maybe that broken
Oh, a few
record?
million times, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what Abraham would say about that is that the asking and the asking and the asking and the asking repeatedly implies that there is a feeling of lack. It implies I don't have it. I need to ask for it. I don't have it. I need to ask for it. I don't have it yet. When is it coming? It's not here. I haven't won the poker tournament yet. Why haven't I won the poker tournament? I haven't done this yet. It hasn't happened yet. So I need to ask for it. I need to ask for it. When is it coming? When is it coming? Now, what that does vibe wise is it says, I'm hopeful that I might win a poker tournament, but right now, I'm in scarcity. I don't have what I need, and I always come back to the relative of mine near and dear to my heart, who would absolutely hate for me to mention his name out loud on this thing, but I would watch him invest, and he'd be on his little home PC, and he'd be on his E-Trade account, and he would be so ecstatic when the stock market went up because he was making all this money, and he would be equally ecstatic when the stock market went down. I remember one day he lost $3 million just in one company alone. Their shares went down that much.
Wow.
And I was expecting him to climb up on the roof and jump off like they did in the 1929, thing, depression, when the depression hit.
Mm-hmm.
All I got was ecstatic. He was so thrilled. I go, don't you understand? I go, we just lost $3 million just in Microsoft shares. And it didn't register. He's like, yeah, so that, yeah, right. Well, that's because he goes, that's because these people out there all panicking and whatever. But he had analyzed the company, he knew it was a good company. He didn't think that Microsoft was going to go out of business anytime soon. It still had a pretty strong structure, and this was sort of a reaction to market conditions. And he was ecstatically happy because there were so many buying opportunities. And I had just been on a business trip to Boston, and back when this happened, and there's a department store called Filene's Department.
Eileen's Basement. Yes.
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
They have sales there where people are in that basement elbowing each other out. Like women are like almost punching the shit out of each other trying to get to the sale racks. And they're just in a frenzy of getting a deal. So every time the market would go down, he would go into that sale. I'm going to a sale place. And he would just be on cloud nine, and he would just be, oh my God, look at the price of that. I'm going to buy some of that. And I'm going to buy some of that. And I know that company, and that's a great company. I'm going to buy that. And so when the market went up, he was happy. And when the market went down, he was happy. And at first, as a newbie watching this, I would look and I'd think, you got to be out of your mind. And are you too stupid to not realize that you just lost a bunch of money? Aren't you upset? The thought of being upset would never have occurred to him. His, what Abraham would call vibrational energy of abundance, never faltered. In fact, it would go up, but it never faltered. And had that been me at the time, I would have been crying. I would have been depressed. I would have been banging my head against the wall going, I was so stupid to put all my money in this one. And I learned something very, very valuable by watching that person. I looked at what it was like to be in abundance all the time. Now, being in abundance all the time wasn't coming from, I'm not good enough and I need to prove myself by becoming wealthy. Although maybe there was a little bit of that, but that's another conversation. But for this particular conversation, there, on behalf of this, was a genuine interest in business, in finance, in world politics, in all that sort of thing. And this is, you know how like what you do in your free time, the books you like to read, the magazines you like to look through, the websites you like to visit, when you've got time off, right? This person was into that sort of stuff. So the studying of companies, the studying of the history of their stocks was not a means to an end for this person. It was a genuine present moment joy. Now, I don't like doing that. There's a lot of things I like to do, and that's not one of the things. But for this person, there was a genuine joy of the process. It was not a means to an end. It just so happened to provide a terrific end. So, no, but there was an allowing. There was allowing of the world and the universe to move up and down, just like the needle of a stock market moves up and down. And when you said, Troy, that you had, and I know you've studied poker a lot, I know that you're terrific at math and statistics, which is a hell of a lot more than I can say for myself. And I know you enjoyed the game.
Love it.
Yeah. But when things, let's say there's a 90, what did you say, 92%, 94%? 92% chance you're going to win. There's also an 8% chance you're going to lose. And that's just how it is.
That's what happened. Yes.
But if that can be okay, because if my example, man, when it went, because the stock market is like gambling too, and it's an educated guess, just like poker is an educated guess. So, but you don't know for sure. Okay, nobody could have predicted COVID and what that did to the market, and which the stocks that we thought would be really stable and steady weren't, and some that, so everything we don't, there's a certain element of risk. And we want to look at when things go down as a blessing. We want to be, yay. Now, how do you do that? Because it's not the same. You lose a poker tournament, it's not the same as, oh boy, I guess I can go, I just lost a bunch of money in the stock market, I guess I can go buy up some cheap stocks now. It's not that. But energetically, is it good I lost? Because it's going to help me strengthen and desensitize my ability to desensitize myself against loss, against fear. I have an opportunity to transcend this chronic thinking pattern that comes up for me, which was for you, why is luck never with me? What's wrong? What am I doing wrong? Whatever it is, it wasn't exactly that, but
Yeah, to that point.
Yeah.
It's like, why is the force
why is the
not
force
with me?
against me?
But the
And we
force
want
is with me.
the force is always with you. And
That's
the
what
force,
Obi-Wan said.
yeah, and the force doesn't take kindly to being told how it is supposed to give you what you want.
True. So
Okay.
my big takeaway.
So if then we look at the motive of what do you want? And what is, so I'm going to ask you, and these sound like really stupid questions for people, right? Like, why would anyone want to win a poker tournament? It seems fucking obvious. But I want you to really kind of narrow it down what your motives are. What do you want? And then we'll work with that. So go ahead and tell me what you want.
This is one of those things, like in the work, there's the what do you want, what do you want, what do you want exercise, right? So of course, yesterday, what do I want? I want to win. What do you want? I want to win money. What do you want? I want to beat everyone else. What do you want? What do you want? Finally, when it got down to it, you know what I wanted? I put it right down here in this ticker. Have fun.
Yeah.
I love playing poker. I love just sitting there. I love trying to outwit, outsmart, outplay because it's fun.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. It's like,
So I'm hearing the strategy of it, right? And then we
yeah,
also want to know,
playing a game,
yeah.
being able to leave the house, having
Mm-hmm.
people support me in poker. So, it was a very significant few days and, lots going on. And I looked at me being at the poker table and people texting me, oh, go get them. My buddy Abe, Vinny, all these guys texting me. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Then I get to talk to you and yeah, I was steaming, but then you brought it back to what's really important here. It's having fun.
Right. But we also want to go, okay, can I let go of the result? Can I not be attached to winning? And that, obviously for everybody, that's easier said than done. At first, until we start to realize how results oriented we are and how much fear is in being results oriented. That's the problem with being results oriented is that there's fear in that. Right? So when we
And
are busy telling the universe, I want my money to come from this source, or I want my love and companionship and relationship to come through that person. Our heart is so attached and set on why not me? And that's all great. And there was a 92% chance. But when the 92% chance, we don't want to have a belief that if we nail the law of attraction and we do a really good job at it and we keep our vibrational energy high and we think all the right thoughts and we decide to be in it for the journey and for the having fun and we do all the right things that will win every time, that's delusional. But abundance is bigger than the one poker tournament. So let's imagine that someone had an idea of abundance, of how much abundance they wanted, let's just say. And it seemed like, well, I can't make that much money at my job. I don't have any other means of income. So I guess I'm really good at poker. I guess I'll go do it there. That must be where it's coming from. Okay. And then it doesn't come. We want to have the faith of going, everything that happens is for my abundance. So whatever the internal feeling is that bubbles up when we lose, or it seems like we're losing, or it seems like things aren't going our way, it's going to be a very awkward, uncomfortable, unsettled, insecure feeling. It might be angry, disappointed, and all the rest of it. Can we transcend that? The situation just presented itself so that could kind of be burped out. once we don't have that, then we're like my example man. And I'm standing there in the doorway going, we just lost $3 million. Are you out of your motherfucking mind? Why are you doing a happy dance right now? And I remember the look on his face, like, oh yeah, well, yeah. Like I'm like, do you not care that we lost $300? And it wasn't even a blip on the radar. It didn't have any significance. And it wasn't because this person studied the law of attraction. This was just something that they intrinsically do. That person intrinsically thinks that way. And I think if we all stopped for a moment and thought of a friend of ours or a relative of ours who thinks that way, everything always works out for me. And that's a big law of attraction mantra. Everything always works out for me. Everything that happens doesn't happen. It's always working out for me. So thank God that one thing I'm noticing that you never gave yourself credit for, and that the viewers don't realize, is that you didn't make any mistakes. Every hand, every decision, every analysis, as Troy kind of went through it all the details with me yesterday, I noticed he played a magnificent tournament that was composed of many magnificent hands of cards. He didn't make any mistakes. He made brilliant, educated bets. There was nothing wrong with anything he did, and he gave himself how much credit for that? Goose egg credit for that.
I steam.
Instead, he went
Yes.
into the habitual fear, which was what's wrong.
Victor.
Right. Now, just to back up for other people out there who like to gamble and things, to stay in an abundance mindset, this is not for you, Troy, but it's for somebody else that may need to hear this. To stay in an abundance mindset, one must be willing to lose the money, which means you don't bet your house. You don't bet, you don't do what they did during Prohibition when they
You
were
don't
all
bet your baby's shoes.
Yeah, like the family couldn't eat now because the husband spent the paycheck.
Red.
Yeah, you don't do that because you can't afford that, and you can't be in an abundance mindset when you do that. So for people who do that, there's no way they're going to get off of scarcity and be completely fine with losing. So what I was suggesting to Troy was, you treat it like you would treat a trip to Disneyland. A trip to Disneyland is so that you can have fun on the rides, and it costs an arm and a leg, but you've decided to pay the money. You've decided to go to Disneyland. You've decided to spend this big price on a Disneyland ticket. You go and you have as much fun as you possibly can. And what you're paying for is the experience. So if you're going to gamble, you want to look at it. I'm going to pay for this experience. I'm willing to risk all of this. And I'm not willing to risk my house. I'm not willing to risk eating again. I'm not willing to risk having my car repossessed. But I am willing to risk this amount. And I'm willing to risk this amount and spend this amount to have a good time. So whether there's a payoff or whether there's not a payoff, I'm letting my giving door is open. So we want the giving door open, and we want the receiving door open when we're looking at luck and law of attraction. And many people will have one or the other door closed. And viewers out there, you can kind of get a sense, are you a good giver? Let's look at that first. We'll look at the receiver too later, but are you a good giver? Are you so frugal? And is your egoic pride caught up in how much money you save? And are you worried about overspending? And if the answer to that is yes, then it may be a giving door open. Money is an energetic flow. So we want to be willing to let it go without strings of angst attached to it. Go back to my example, man. He was willing to let those Microsoft shares fall $3 million without any angst attached to it. Now, I don't think he actually even thought that through. It's just how he thinks.
It's good.
But that's an example of having your giving door open. It doesn't mean you're foolhardy. It means that you're going to make a decision that I'm going to practice opening my giving door. And I'm going to practice giving freely without strings attached. That's part of abundance. And then we can imagine that every time we do that, and every time there's no strings attached, the universe brings it back tenfold, or even twofold. I mean, it could be for every dollar that goes out to come. We can have imagery like that, and if we can imagine that, that's kind of a therapeutic imagery, law of attraction technique. But if our giving door is open and we're willing to let it go, then is our receiving door open? So when your friends want to help you with something, do you say, oh, no, I got it. I can do it all by myself? When you go out to lunch with somebody and they say, oh, I'll get the check, do you say, oh my gosh, thank you. That's really kind of you. I'll get it next time. But I appreciate that. That's what a treat. I'm so happy. Or do you sit there and fight with that person?
I usually cheer and I'll do a couple cartwheels around the table.
Good. So the receiving door is open. So we want the receiving door. Are you a good receiver? I used to have a person on my Christmas list, and I would get a little thing. It was a friend, and I would get this person some really small friendship gift, and they would go into, oh my God, I didn't get you anything. Oh my God, I feel like such an asshole. And I would be like, that's fine. I don't need anything. I just saw this thing and it made me think of you. And I just want to give this to you. Oh God, I wish you wouldn't have done that. I feel like such a dick. Okay, well, I'm so sorry. Maybe we could get together next week and I'll give you again. And I'm like, now that person's receiving door was shut. It doesn't feel good
Closed.
to me. It didn't feel good to me. All I could think of was, God, how could I wish I should have remembered this person is a terrible receiver. My giving them a gift isn't going to make them happy. My giving them a gift is going to make them upset.
So then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And then they're going to say, no one ever gives me gifts.
So when the universe wants,
about it.
So imagine now you're the universe and you're trying to give somebody a terrific gift. And they're like, no, you suck. I don't want that gift. So when we start to tell the universe what we want, how we expect it to come, exactly what it's going to look like, or who it's going to be, or how much it's going to be, and which avenue in our lives it's going to come from, that takes all the joy away from the universe, because they can't go shop for a happy surprise and give it to us in a way that's even better than we could have imagined. And sometimes they want to give us a lesson, like sometimes the universe wants to help us strengthen. Now, do I really believe that there's a whole committee called the universe? No, I'm using humor.
You never know. You never know.
Well, it's not a separate thing. It's again, presence, and presence has a place in law of attraction. So when you're at the poker table, I can imagine, given how you played, you were probably, I'm guessing, very present, were you not?
Focused. Wow.
Yeah. Very present. You were able to.
Just like that.
Very present.
Which is fun. I love that. And that being look, I'll speak for if I'm not present at the poker table, I'm not picking up tells. I'm probably even missing cards on the board, not even calculating percentages, not like that's why I love playing poker. Poker is complete presence. And I know we talk about presence a lot.
So you're right. Is that having fun? The scary, courageous part is letting go of the results. And that's been for me personally the hardest part of everything is letting go of the results. Because there's always a fear in my head of if I'm not focused on the results, I'm not going to get the result. I'm going to lose focus. Well, no, because the result is some airy fairy thing in the future. If we're trying to manage what cards other people are dealt, if we're trying to manage winning every time, it's like taking a hammer, a really heavy carpenter's hammer, and spending our energy nailing into the air, because we can't find anything to actually stick that to. It's not within our reach of fixing, and we can exhaust ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think the opening to everything that happens doesn't happen is all for my benefit. You know, and letting go of the egoic need to be certain, because the ego wants to know, and the ego wants certainty because the ego believes in something called security or being secure. Life is not secure. It never has been, and it never will be secure ever. And I can remember all the times I've hypnotized people to feel secure. But can you feel comfortable with uncertainty? That's true security. That what it gives the mind permission to let go of worrying about or making something up, like, why am I so unlucky? Why does this keep happening? That is a thought that the mind, and only the egoic mind, will be able to collect a lot of so-called evidence for. But that's because it's only looking through one very narrow perspective. It's looking at one clump of trees and it's missing the forest.
Well, and the mind does tend to focus on negative, which focusing on the bad beats as opposed to the good beats, or the good beats that the poker player has put on other people, that's easily forgotten. Tournament wins are easily forgotten. It's the last bad beat. Poker players love to complain about the last bad beat.
And then it's a marathon, not a sprint. So the law of attraction and managing luck, if we open the giving door, we open the receiving door, we become unattached to our expectations. We let it go completely, to the point where we give up on even needing to have that be a thing. That's when it comes. But the irony is we don't need it anymore. You know, like how many times have you obsessed about that one guy, right? And oh God, please just give me this one person. I'm in love with this one person. Please make him love me back. Blah, 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 blah. It's not happening, not happening, not happening. And then we let it go. What happens?
That guy shows up at your door.
Yeah.
And says, oh, hey, I heard you were talking about me. The universe told me.
Yeah.
So you think that's going to work with Kim Wexler?
It might work with Kim Wexler, but then the other thing is, what were the qualities we wanted? And this is back to poker again. It works for poker and for
life
love.
is like poker.
What are the qualities that we want. So let's imagine I'm a poker player and I have I'm good at poker. I enjoy poker. I have fun playing poker. Um, which I'm not, and I don't, by the way, but this is all hypothetical, but just pretend.
You'd be pretty good.
And I know I have what it takes to win a poker tournament as much as any of these other poker tournament winners. Maybe my intellect is to that level where I'm just got a affinity for that sort of thing, and I enjoy it. And so it makes logical sense to me that if I'm gonna ever have a crap ton of money, it's gonna come from a big poker tournament. And so I'm expecting to win. There's a difference between expecting to win a poker tournament and knowing and being open to the possibility that I'm enough to win this poker tournament. One is a little more open than the other. The open to the possibility that I'm enough, that I'm just as that I've got value, that I'm not better than other people, okay, or worse than other people, that I love this and I have, and winning would be really nice and I would like to win and that's my goal. But that's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I absolutely love to do it. I may or may not win. But when I'm in that attitude, I'm not worried about what if I lose. I'm not distracted with those negative thoughts. I'm going to be more present and I'm going to be more into what I'm doing. If I'm doing something out of the joy of doing it, then I'm not trying to get to the next table and the next table and the next table. I'm appreciating the table I'm at now. I'm appreciating the cards that are in my hand now. I'm appreciating the people I'm sitting with now. And I'm not holding them as a means to an end. I'm just with what I'm doing now, and I don't need to. I don't really need to win. I've already won. I've already won because I'm here doing what I love to do, and I'm with the people I love to be with, and I'm strategically thinking the way I love to strategically think. And I love it here, and this is my happy place, and this is great, and I'm so glad to be here, and I'm basking now in gratitude for the opportunity to participate in this tournament.
I love that.
That's the gratitude is what I use in law of attraction hypnosis, is getting people in touch with the feeling of gratitude hypnotically, and then we sort of spread that over whatever it is they want to do, whatever it is they're doing. But I'm so grateful to be here. This is wonderful. Well, can we take whatever the universe dishes up at that point and be grateful for that too? I'm so grateful that I played a perfect hand. I'm so grateful that I played a perfect tournament. I'm amazed at how well I played. And wow, I really made a good decision with that last bet. I had a 92% chance of winning and I went all in. And that was a really good call. Wow, I love how courageous I was. I love how I trusted myself. I loved how I saw those tells in the other players. I loved that moment. It was a great moment. And then when we lose, it's not going to be painless. But we don't want to start to involve ourselves in the mental plot of what comes up. For example, I can watch the movie Old Yeller and I can get upset and cry. But at no point do I believe that I'm in that movie. So I'm affected by the movie. I'm moved by the movie. I'm experiencing what it's like to have focused on that movie or to be focusing on that movie. But I know that I'm not Timmy and I'm not shooting my dog or whatever the fuck happened at the end. Okay. I don't believe I'm actually Old Yeller getting shot. Okay. So I'm upset, but I'm not taking that's my life. So would there perhaps be disappointment if all of a sudden someone went all in and then they lost it? There's going to be an oh shoot. but it's coming. But we're not. But we're just. There's still that. I'm so grateful to be here, and then noticing. I'm so grateful to notice this really awkward, uncomfortable, weird, fucked up feeling. That's what this is about. If I can transcend this, can I sit with this feeling? Can I not psychoanalyze it? Can I just notice that since I was a little teeny boy, I've had this feeling like, why is luck against me? And can the universe be giving me a much bigger jackpot than it ever would have given me if I would have won, by letting me notice this is where I go? And the universe wants me to have fun at this poker tournament and wants me to be abundant, but not as a way to avoid this horrible feeling that I've struggled with my whole life. The universe would much rather have me transcend this tendency to constantly tell myself that I'm not lucky, that something's wrong, that I didn't do enough, that I'm not enough, that I don't fit in, whatever it is for someone. That's the gift. And then there can be gratitude. Thank God I feel this shitty feeling again. How many fucking times have I done this? And it's not enough. I'm going to beat myself up. It's about, I love myself. I have compassion. Oh my God, I did it last year when this happened. I did it the year before when that happened. I did it in 1987 when this happened. And I did it when I was 6 years old when this happened. And this happened. And then this happened. And I always fucking do that. And I can see why I did it. I can see how I believe that. And wouldn't it be great to never, ever, ever have to question my luck again?
Boom.
And when you do that, the universe opens up, and you may very well win a poker tournament. But if you don't, Aunt Edna is going to kick the bucket and leave you $100 million or something to that effect. So we don't ever tell the universe, I have to have it from that source. But if we can live in gratitude, that's going to change the luck. And now, when we can be grateful even for a terrible loss in our lives, because it makes us take a look at our relationship to uncertainty, or our tendency to be hard on ourselves, or whatever the fuck comes up. For all of us, it's different. You know, Troy shared a little bit about what came up for him. But for me, what comes up for me is fucked up in a different way. And what comes up for you is fucked up in a different way. And so when we can look at, where do I go? And the universe will never just accommodate us putting a Band-Aid on that for too long. Sometimes it'll give us a relationship for a couple of years that helps us put a Band-Aid on that shit, so we don't have to just be in agony all the time. But eventually that relationship's going to blow up too, because the universe would really rather have you get over whatever that thing is.
Get over it right in there.
So anyway, that's a little bit more than I wanted to say, but there you have it.
So I just came up with an idea.
Okay.
For you poker players out there, I'm a poker coach, and now I have a co-coach with me, and that is our friendly hypnotherapist here. Amazing. And I say to you, Janna, wow, I am literally going to download this and listen to it when I sit at the table, because that is the reminder of, I love what I'm doing. Now, that's the easy part. I love what I'm doing. Sometimes the challenging part is I love all the people around me, but I guess I can make up that, hey, I love the characters on the table. And the third thing being, it's that whole mental exercise. And I love the challenge. I love the gaming. That's just fun. And then the fourth thing, not being attached to results, and results being not win or lose. Results could be having fun. Results could be getting out of the house. Results can be exercising the brain. Results could be playing well. As you did mention, I was very happy with my poker game. And then when you refocused me yesterday, I did focus on, I was playing good. My intuition was off the hook really good. I can just sniff out people's cards. That was great. And I was grateful for that. I was grateful that I was able to play my game. And I'm grateful that I'm going to play in the World Series of Poker. I got myself a sponsor for that. And I'm excited. So why in the world was I steaming? So anyway.
Well, but then you don't want a Monday morning quarterback beat yourself up either.
Oh, no. I never do that.
Because when your
I'll
mind
blame
isn't
someone else's
concerned
shit.
about your luck, it's freed up to be even more present.
Yes. And you know, that is a good point. And for you poker players out there, presence. That is one of the things that I do coach other poker players on is presence. I coached a guy, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years ago. He was a friend of mine, didn't actually pay me, but I was like his poker coach. Dude was never present at the poker table. He was like on his phone, he was doing whatever, never present.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, well, I'm really crappy at tells. I can't pick a tell out. You can't pick a tell out because you're not looking at anyone." Anyway,
I think, you know,
I get very excited about this kind of stuff.
yeah, there's a lot of avoidance behavior that comes up. I think for all of us, I know it does for me. I watch myself avoid and I know I'm avoiding, and it's hysterical because I'm like, oh man, this is total avoidance behavior, you know? So it's not like we don't do it, but I think to be conscious of what are we doing and is it avoidance or is it not? And it doesn't really matter about what the behavior is. I remember back in the LifeSpring days where there were charts on the wall, and one chart said ways to create value, or I think it said ways we create value, and the other one said ways to avoid. And I remember the trainer walking around having people put up their hands, and they were saying, you know, how do you create value in your life? And I remember one girl got up and she goes, well, I make sure I get to sleep at a decent hour. And he said, oh, okay. So ways you create values, you eat healthy and you eat well and you sleep. And she says, yeah. Okay. What else? And she says, oh, well, I exercise. So he wrote that up, exercise. It's all under the heading of ways to create value. And then he got to the ways we avoid. And guess what things were on the list?
Same thing.
Sleep. Eating,
yes.
The exercise disorder, right? So is
Crack
it about
cocaine.
the sleeping, the eating, or the exercising? No, is it coming from creating value in my life, or is it coming from a way to avoid stress, or a way to avoid this chronic belief that I'm not good enough and I need to be skinnier and, you know, I have to run an extra 500,000 miles.
Whew. That would really tire me out. Oh, I'd only run an extra 200,000 miles. But anyway, that being said, that is amazing. And I am serious that I am going to download this because I'm going to become present and listen to this right before, not when I'm on the table, but right before I jump on the table. As I'm driving to the Commerce or going to Vegas, the Bellagio, I'm going to listen to this. So thank you.
Yeah.
You're amazing as all. It's like you are amazing. And by the way, everyone out there watching today, this is you literally broke it down in real time. You gave real coaching in real time. You took all your modalities. It wasn't just hypnosis, hypnotherapy. It was all of your modalities. So you out there, watch this. And by the way, Janna, there's a guy that I give coaching tips to. I'm gonna have him watch this too. Because
Oh,
this is really important. And I can give mechanical tips and tricks. I can tell you all day long if someone raises this and he's betting this, he's got a set or da 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 da. I can give you the mechanics, but this is actually giving the way of being. This is the way of being, which is so important when
yeah.
you're sitting on a poker table. If you sit down at the poker table and you feel like you're a fish, you're a fish.
Yeah.
If you're playing scared, you will lose. So anyway, that being said, we're coming up on an hour. This hour flew in like, 5
I
minutes.
can't believe it. Oh my gosh.
Seriously, it flew in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
I love this stuff. So I was just like
yeah.
Captive audience, but just phew. So
I received these blocks of understanding, and it's not verbal. and they're very simple, but they're beyond speech. And so for me to try to explain what it is becomes wordy. So I have a tendency to be wordy because it's like this, but it's more like that. So I'm constantly trying to tweak my words to try to describe what I mean.
Well, I think
gotta
you
work on that.
I think you described quite eloquently and concisely in this manner. And I did make notes as you were speaking, and I've put up a variety of these different, like, for example, something like this, right? Be comfortable being uncertain. Open the giving door, right? This kind of stuff. I mean, this is invaluable, right? This is what I got out of it. If you see the ticker, down below, have fun.
Yeah.
Fun, right? The win, abundance will come. The quote unquote result or the intention or whatever it is, right? And that's just for me.
And
I
not
put
having
that
it
down
be,
there
not
for
having
me.
it be a means to an end.
Yeah, exactly.
So a lot of this is counterintuitive. It's like we want the result, but then we have to let go of the result.
Yeah.
There's a Bible verse like that. And I'm not a big Bible thumper or anything, but it's whoever, basically wants to hang on to their life will lose it. Yeah. It's in there. I'd have to look it up. I think it's Matthew something, but I'd have to look it up. Yeah. But it comes up and it's all this. Yeah. Anyway, I won't continue to.
Well, remember,
pontificate on this.
Obi-Wan Kenobi told that to Luke Skywalker when Luke was flying the X-Wing in to blow up the Death Star, and he's flying and he has his little thing on, right? And he hears Obi-Wan say, "Let go." Well, that was kind of Darth Vader, wasn't it? But he said, "Let go." And then Luke went and took his little thing off and just like did it by feel.
Yeah, that's it.
And then the Death Star blew up and Darth Vader went. So anyway, there you go. Any final words, Ms. Janna?
Oh gosh, just practice being present.
Done.
That's the best thing you can do.
Done and done. And I will share. I have a couple tournaments coming up next week. I will share with you, especially, and our friends out there. I'll share my wins. And my wins are going to be having fun, being present, having the brain work,
Yeah.
That's very important. And I don't have to do a crossword puzzle, Janna. I don't have to do a crossword puzzle. I can sit at a poker table. And on that note, everyone, thank you for joining us. Ms. Janna, always a pleasure. You're amazing. I give you big time props. You're amazing. And we'll see you next time, Sunday, 5 o'clock. I think maybe next week we take this show on the road to Facebook, because I've made up that we've formed quite a good, I guess you could say, game plan here of what we're doing. I think a bigger audience is on our horizon, but we'll see. Peace out. Have a great week.
You too. Bye.
Okay.